Jules Verne, as I'm sure many of you know, incredibly popular author, turn of the century. Some in my research have argued that he was a pioneer in science fiction writing. With A Journey to the Center of the Earth, I found it most interesting that this story, at the height of its popularity, was translated into enough languages that during the First World War, and as grisly as that was, it's a fact that it was read by soldiers in the trenches in English, in French, in German, dialects of Belgian, whoever else was participating in it. And I think the reason why is because, frankly, they wanted to be anywhere else but where they were then. And for that, I was touched. I was quite moved by it. Now, when I saw the screenplay, it had gone through many different drafts, and in Hollywood, that's a frequent occurrence. Screenplays can become, such as my friend Adam Shankman says, like 3-day-old smorgasbords. Get indigestion because so many people have been sort of like going through them. And this was an example of one of those. So, not actually having had read Journey to the Center of the Earth, I ran down to my local Borders bookstore, got an anthology, it was the last one in Westwood, California, palmed through it as quickly as I could. I didn't thumb, I palmed. And I realized that it's a relationship story that has essentially only 3 characters. And the central star or set piece of this story is the journey itself and what happens along the way. Now, fortunately, the screenplay that I saw had all of those set pieces in place. They were all there. Some had to be amended, changed, cut out. That happens with every film. But they were all there. And it was just really a simple matter of determining what the character relationships should be. So I made a pitch to Eric Brevig, our director, saying, why don't we let the story just go back to the way that Verne had it? There was an eccentric professor. He had a nephew who was faithful and loyal to him. And there was sort of a pack carrier who was Icelandic. I think his name was Orst, or depending on what translation you might have read. And they found a hole in Mount Snæfellsnes, which, by the way, is a glacier, just for the record. And they went on this journey, and they got out. So, what can we do to make sure that we keep an audience's interest? Because you can't really do that in a film, at least in my view, if you don't care about the people. Why bother going to the movies? I mean, as much whiz-bang as we've got out there in films, and let's face it, we've seen a lot of it. CGI has come a long, long way in a short amount of time. And the 16 or 18 years that I've been fortunate enough to have been a part of the industry, I've received a real education, and an invaluable one at that too, because CG and CGI have quadrupled, and I won't say it's hit a ceiling, but it's gotten to a saturation point that I've noticed, and I've noticed by if you ask kids or of my own opinion or people my own age, maybe you might feel the same way, is that there's not necessarily that much that we see that makes our eyes pop out of our head, like the first time we did, if I recall, I want to get this right. Did anyone see young Sherlock Holmes? Okay, and you recall there was a battle at the end, I think a stained glass man came out of the wall, and he drew his sword. But yeah, and they started going at it and everything like that. And when you saw that, you were, I don't know about you, but I was like, wow. I hadn't seen that in film before. That was like, that's done with a computer? How did they do that? And now I think we kind of take it for granted. We see it in commercials, we see it in television shows, we see it in so much. That is, like I say, I think just par for the course.
So Brendan, do you think that saturation with CGI has led to this push for 3D among?
I think it's time. It's time for it right now, because there's really no denying that the technology and 3D, I think, have an opportunity to be the perfect fusion of where cinema is headed next, and what we're probably going to come to expect. I mean, there probably will be a day where screens will have an option for you to just select, oh, I want to watch the Super Bowl in 3D. I'll just press the 3D button, or, you know, who knows? I mean, but in the meantime, there's a little bit of work to be done. I think that if I stop digressing from the point that I made earlier, which is that I think that with Journey, we've been able to incorporate all the best of what the technology has to offer, and using the best of what is available to us that's new and innovative. And here endeth the lesson.
So just